So this will be a combination of a slideshow and some live demonstration in StatPearls. If you are in Zoom and I happen to somehow be sharing the wrong screen, please give me a shout. But otherwise, we will get started. So what is StatPearls? StatPearls is a resource which provides quiz creation, exam review, and self-testing resources. It includes a bunch of specific test prep resources for various certification exams under quite a few different areas. The big thing to know is the first time you set up a StatPearls account, please make sure that you register through our LSU HSE New Orleans portal so that you are correctly associated with the university. If you are an instructor who will need to be creating quizzes and stuff, please contact your school's library liaison so that we can help you set up an admin account. So now I'm going to maneuver over to StatPearls just briefly, if my link works for me. Okay, so this is the StatPearls page in our database listing. This here is the link to register through our portal. Once you're registered, you can just go to the regular StatPearls website to log in. As I said, we've got a whole range of test banks here. We've got, as you can see, pages on pages worth of subspecialties and things like that. We've recently added dental as a package. So there are these things. We've got, nurse practitioner, dental hygiene, pharmacy, all kinds of stuff. So hopefully there is something in there that can assist you. And now there is a little bit about StatPearls that is somewhat less intuitive than I would like it to be as far as navigation. So I am going to kind of do quite a bit of live demonstration as far as how to navigate StatPearls. Often when you enter, you will come to kind of a page that looks like this. It'll have this QBank practice test and CME finder. Most things that people want to do in StatPearls are going to be under your user dash. Which is in the top right corner of the screen. It's a little drop-down menu from your profile icon. So if you click on that, that will bring you into your user dash. And then if you are a faculty admin or an instructor or whatever, most of the things you're going to want to do are going to be under this LMS admin. And that's where you can manage your groups and create assignments and review quiz results. You will see here on my screen what I'm seeing, these assignments, assigned quizzes, assigned tests. Those are things that have been assigned to me as a test taker. This kind of initial screen is sort of very geared toward a student. So if you see that, don't interpret that as quizzes that you have assigned. These are things that have been assigned to you. Yeah. Okay, so I'm going to kind of go through the steps for creating a group and assigning a quiz. And I'm going to do that as a live demonstration in StatPearls. But these slides do include these step-by-step instructions as well so that you can review them later. I will also give a little shout out to StatPearls because they have done a very good job of creating tutorial videos for kind of each step of the process that are admirably brief and fairly instructive. So if you ever are lost, I have certain quibbles with how StatPearls works. Their customer service has been pretty good though, from the perspective of answering my questions and creating helps. So, okay, so in StatPearls, hopefully it remembers. Yes, I'm already logged in. So as I said, most things you're going to want to do, click on your name, get the dropdown, and head to user dash. Here again, we can see the quizzes that I have been assigned. And also, these are kind of some of your, you could build a quiz for yourself. This is one of the things that I will largely be showing the students is how to create a self-test for practice. You have your different question banks that you can select here as well. But if you want to create a quiz for other people, you're going to want to go to this LMS admin. Some of this may look slightly different for you because you are not have a slightly different administrative level, whereas I can see all the users in the world. But Ideally, you should see a list of users in a manage groups, and that will be limited to your users and your groups, I think. I could be wrong. You might see everything, but I want to go to manage groups. So if I haven't set up any groups already, this is where I would come to do that. So if I want to create a group, this is fairly instinctive. You can go to new group. You'll want to name your group. You'll want to give it something fairly indicative. Most of the time, this is a specific like section of a class. I guess you could do, if you're teaching multiple sections of the same class, you could probably do all the same as long as your quiz assignments have the same due date and stuff. But you'll want to give it a name. I will call this StatPearls instructor session. And then you'll want to select your group admins. If you don't select anything, I don't recommend that. You want to select any faculty who may need to access student results in the course, or if you have, I don't know, TAs or whatever. You also want to make sure to include yourself if you're administering the course, because I don't think it just automatically assumes that. So I'm going to add myself and okay. You can enter a description if you would like, but otherwise just create a group. Eventually. Okay, so now that group should appear under your list of groups. You can see your admins here, if there's a description, and you would see your count of users. Now, it seems to me that one would expect that adding users would be somewhere embedded in that process. It's not. You have to come to the list of groups and select go to group home to do it. You have a couple of different ways to add users to your group. You can send invitations via email or add users via CSV. Both of these work pretty much the same way in the sense that they generate an email invitation, which users must then, accept and log in or to get in. I will caution, the CSV is a little bit picky. I've had people upload a CSV and there has been a space in front of the email address. StatPearls is not smart enough to take that out automatically. If you have anything like that, it will just fail to send the emails, and so your students will not get invited to the group. But if you do that, basically it just opens this window, you choose your file. It will ask, if you want to upload these people as users, which is if you're uploading students, that's what you would like to do. You should probably enter some sort of a message just to convince people that it's not spam or something like that. And then just click add users and it should do the trick. If you say invite via email, this will just have you enter email addresses separated by a comma. And that's does pretty much what you would expect it to. You can also add users directly to the group. That's this button here. If you click that, you can select users who already exist in the system. Probably for the most part, your students will not have already set up a StatPearls account in advance. So you're probably going to want to use one of the other options to send them an email. If you ever do run into trouble with that, please reach out to the reference email at the library. I'm happy to help you troubleshoot adding users and things like that. I've done it numerous times at this point. Sometimes it's a little hard to diagnose what has gone wrong. The other thing about adding users manually like this is if I were to select someone from this list, it also skips the pending step and makes them fully an active member of the group immediately. I don't know whether there's any particular reason that you would be concerned about doing that, but just be aware it doesn't. Whereas other people that you've invited via email sit in kind of a pending status for a while. So that is sort of things to know about importing users to groups. You do also have the ability to, send an email to everyone in a group if you need to send out a reminder, don't forget to complete this test, things like that. I'm going to go back a bit just to my other group that I have assigned some quizzes to, just so that you can see some of what that looks like. So again, this little house is the group home. So if you click on that, that brings you to the home of the group. Okay, so once you're in group administration, you have this little bar of your various options. You've got users, quizzes, private testing, reading assignments. I'm going to focus on users and quizzes right now. So here you can see the users in my group. I've got myself in twice, both as an administrator and as a user. I actually will say I kind of highly recommend putting yourself in any group you create, because that way you also get notices about assignments and emails and things like that. Honestly, I would suggest if you're doing a CSV upload, include your email in that file so that you can verify that the email invitations are going out correctly. That way you don't run into problems like an instructor that I was working with earlier who didn't find out that people weren't getting the emails until people weren't able to take a quiz in a panic at the last minute, you know. I do highly recommend that. I kind of put myself in a lot of groups for troubleshooting. It is kind of nice just to know that notices are going out as you expect. So here you can see I've got myself twice and then one of my coworkers here in this group. You can see a little bit of info at the top. You can see how many quizzes we've taken and how many questions we've answered. You can also export this stuff as an Excel or a CSV if you need to. Over under quizzes, though, this is where you can build quizzes, assign quizzes, all of that sort of stuff. Right here, you've got another little menu here. You've got created quizzes versus assigned quizzes. Again, one of the things that is slightly counterintuitive about StatPearls is you have to create a quiz. Creating a quiz does not automatically assign it. That kind of step is not embedded in that process. It doesn't say, would you like to assign this now? It just, you create it, you're done. It adds it to your list of quizzes. So to create a quiz though, click on the create quiz button. You've got your quiz details. We can name it, you know, demonstration quiz. You can give it a description if you would like. There are two modes here, study mode and test mode. Test mode does not include any teaching points. You only get one chance to answer the question. But if you do study mode, that has some, you know, notes. What did you get wrong? Why did you miss it? What should the right answer be? Things like that. I'm assuming that probably most of the time you're going to want to do test mode. I think the study mode is going to be more geared toward like students taking their own practice tests. You can change your question bank here. So this is where you've got your huge master list of all the question banks that are available. You can choose the one that is most appropriate to your topic. I'm going to leave mine in CRNA. You can filter by various sciences. You could add all kinds of things. And you can also filter by topics. So we can expand this list and choose moderate, light, and deep sedation, or post-anesthesia care and respiratory therapy, just to kind of narrow the questions. There is also the option to choose questions from a list or to let the system randomly pick questions for you. I would say if you want to use the random, then that's probably where you want to be more specific as far as your exam topics and your, you know, kind of filter by sciences, that sort of thing. My guess is that you probably want to be more specific there if you're letting it randomly select. But if you do that, just click this pre-select questions. It gives you a little difficulty scale and then a number of questions. You just click in there to increase or decrease the number of questions. I do think that interface is a little bit difficult to see. It's a little hard to tell that that's a thing that you can click into and adjust, but you can. And then if you select pre-select, that's where it's going to kind of randomly generate 10 moderately difficult questions on the criteria you've chosen above. Down below here, you have your whole list of potential questions based on the filters you've added, where you can kind of pick and choose, like, yes, this one, not this one, et cetera, et cetera. And it shows you the levels, it shows you the question, it's, you know, how often it's been used in quizzes, how often people get it right, all kinds of little statistics and stuff. But I'm just going to do this pre-select thing and then scroll down and say create quiz. So now I've got my quiz and this has not been assigned. This is always the step where I kind of expect it to just automatically give me a pop-up and say, do you want to assign this? It doesn't do that. It will just sit here under your list of quizzes. To create an assignment, you click on this little icon here, which creates an assignment. So this is going to be assigned to whatever group you're in by default. you've got a start date and a due date. This is a place where I often mess up. I kind of assume it's going to assume start date is now, and due date it will also assume is now. So you do need to select that, choose your due date, set the time, if you want to make it midnight or whatever. Let's say, just for fun, we'll say I want to make it midnight a week from now. How about yeah, we don't want to change to Eastern time. We want Central time. Okay. Yeah, so probably worth double checking your time zones as well. Your duration here is the time they have to test. If you do 0, it's going to assume no time limit, unlimited. If you do anything else, it will cut them off at that time. And I will warn you that it doesn't, if a student runs out of time on a test, it doesn't just sort of mark it as finished and set their results as is. It just basically stops where it is and marks it as unfinished. So just be aware of that. It's something that has thrown people in the past. It's not my favorite feature of the system, to be perfectly honest. But that is how it works currently. You do have the option to say, release results to the students so that they can review them or not, all these sorts of things. But then basically go through those options, click assign. And now if I go to my assigned quizzes, I will see that this quiz has been assigned, how many people have finished it, and any results. Below, just to show you kind of what results look like here, I've got a previous quiz that I've assigned. So to see the results for an already assigned quiz, just click on the assignment name, and it's going to give you a bit of general statistical information right up here at top. You've got detailed summaries and things that you can see as well. And you can see my 2 test takers here and our results. You can see this one individual, we've got a not finished result, which is very likely someone who ran out of time during this test. So as you can see, if we click on that name, we can see their transcript as well. We can see kind of their score here and kind of, that they got this one question wrong and then did not finish the other one. If you want to give someone the opportunity to retake a test, that's where reset result comes in. So I could do that for Elizabeth here. It will remove their score, start them from the beginning of assignment, and it cannot be undone. So I'm going to go ahead and do that. And so now you see her status changes to not started. Yeah. You can give extensions to students if you would like. Extensions are also where you can add time. So if you have someone who has accommodations who gets, a little bit of extra test time, if you go into extensions and say add extensions, I can add an additional duration to a specific student. And you probably want to double check your start and end dates. Maybe your end date is the same. You're just giving them, the ability to take 15 extra minutes on the test or something like that. So that's where that can come in. I think you can do multiple people. No, one at a time. That's a little bit of a pain. Oh, well. So, but anyway, that's how you can do accommodations for extra time in this system. Let's see. Let me just pull up my slides just real quick to make sure I remember what I wanted to cover next. Okay. Yeah, we did retakes. We did additional duration. Okay. I'm going to go back to full screen for this one. This is the big warning. This is something that I've run into assisting various instructors with StatPearls, and part of why I kind of wanted to go over the what happens when people run out of time thing. This is something that I have an open help ticket with StatPearls about, so I am trying to see if they can help us get this fixed. When you are taking a quiz in StatPearls, it will show you a test duration timer, which will count how long you've been in the test. It will reset to 0 every time you go to a new question, as opposed to counting your actual cumulative time. So if you are assigning quizzes, if you're giving, kind of shorter timed quizzes and you're worried about that, please warn your students to track their own time in a test. I'm going to harp on this in the student session as well, that you want to track your own time. It does not, it just seems to be a feature that does not work as intended. As I said, I've started a help desk ticket with them to try to correct that. So right now I'm just warning people. But that is pretty much it. Does anyone have any questions or anything any problems? Yes, Sharon. Okay.
When you're creating a quiz, can you pull from more than one different test bank, or is it just the one?
I haven't tried that. Let's find out. Let's go in. Let's see if we can add from multiple question banks.
It didn't look like it to me, but
I don't think you can.
Oh, you can do all.
Yeah, you could do all and select from multiple. Which might be.
What are the filters then? Okay, so maybe.
Yeah, we do have, because you do have so you may it may be a bit labor intensive to do that, but it does look like it's possible. We'll put it that way.
Could you go back and edit a quiz and add questions?
Let's see. Okay, pre-select.
And when you want to create it.
Oh, no matching records found because I did weird.
We'll go to one you already have.
Yeah, let's see. Okay, created quizzes. You can edit. I mean, I know that you can edit a quiz, but I think it's mostly just the date and. Oh wait, no, that's a sign. Let's see. View quiz. I know there's a way to edit. I thought maybe it's just that I think. Now that I'm thinking about this, I think you can't really edit a quiz. You can edit an assignment. So you can change the due dates and things like that. But I don't think you can edit a quiz. I think you would have to create a new quiz. I'm pretty sure about that. Now that I think it through. Just real quick, as I mentioned, high recommendation for their help. Like I said, how to auto build a test or quiz, how to assign a reading. I didn't even get into assigning readings. Most of the help that has been requested thus far has been about assigning quizzes. But let's see. Just for fun. Assigns the reading. Yeah, great reading list. And then it just has their list of articles. So fairly straightforward, looks like to me. Okay, any other questions? Yes.
When you assign a quiz, do the students get a notification that they have a new assigned quiz?
Yes, because I get ones. What was that? Oh, yes. The question was, when you assign a quiz, do students get a notification? I definitely get a lot of notifications because I've signed myself up as a user in a physician's assistant group for troubleshooting. And I definitely get notices. There may be I'm trying to think if there's from the student end. I could see there being something where you could accidentally toggle it off. Let's see, account settings.
I guess you would see it in the dashboard.
Yeah, when you log in, you see it in your dashboard, but I don't see a way to toggle it off or anything like that in your user settings. So you probably do want to have when you start using StatPearls, you probably do want to remind your students to check their spam folders for a bit as well, though, just to make sure that things are coming through. But at least I regularly get assignment heads ups. Yeah. Any other questions? I mean, and if nothing else, the moral of the story is just always don't be shy about reaching out about help. If it is something that every now and then we encounter a problem that we haven't seen before, and we try to figure it out for you. As I said, sometimes it does involve opening help tickets with with the vendor, but I will do my best to assist if we run into any problems.